Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So I just thought I'd tell you, talk about landlord junkyards. As a landlord, you will develop quite a collection. So I got about 165,000 square feet of rentals right now. Commercial, industrial, offices, quite a bit of houses right now, more than normal. You end up collecting a lot of stuff. You can see behind me here, these are commercial doors. Some are old, some are timely. We call it timely frames or metal frame doors. Steel doors like this. This has probably been in 3 different buildings at one time or another. And this stuff is expensive. I'm kind of glad I've held on to some of it. Sometimes you get a little frustrated. Oh man, I don't have my keys. Sometimes you get a little frustrated hanging on to stuff. You're like, we all have that, right? We all hang into stuff that we don't want to throw away because it's valuable. And like you can see, I got all kinds of stuff here. I've got many of these. These are fans for floods. And sometimes I use it to blow air in the attics to keep people cool that are working. Man. Bear with me a sec. You can take a look at my ceiling. Sorry for that. Looks like I had to take the pickup. Anyways, but it's stuff like this, like rolls of carpet. And sometimes this stuff, and it just so happens the tenant that got this blue carpet 3 years ago, we're expanding. And it's a wonderful thing. Sometimes you just need you want to hang on to things for continuity of buildings. And I'm talking about that can be, hanging on to a bunch of redwood or siding or tile sometimes, stuff that if you do some work later on, you're going to be able to pull from your junkyard. And I can't even show you everything I'm looking at. I got so much in front of me right now, but I'm running out of places to put stuff, to be quite honest. You'll get whatever, when it comes to like office furniture and lumber and things like that, that's one thing. And steel, steel is cheap. Steel I don't usually hang on to too much unless it's, special. But like storefront, display glass, those kinds of doors and things. These things sometimes come in and out of walls inside of oh hey Tina, inside of buildings. Sometimes somebody wants a wall with glass, sometimes they don't, and you spend $2,500 on something, and then the tenant is gone, or they expand, or they change the plans, and you pull that stuff out. Well, sometimes you want to hang on to it, but it's interesting because everything has become so valuable. Space has become so valuable where I'm right now that it's tough to have that little junkyard. It's tough to have that a space. In other words, the space that I end up using to hold desks and conference tables and light fixtures and carpet rolls and padding, and it's gotten to this point now where I'm better off just throwing the stuff away, mostly because the space that it occupies, it's costs thousands of dollars a month in rental space to hold on to this stuff, keep it out of the elements. And so as a result, I've had to do some cleaning house. I got to tell you, this has been first, we're going into a recession. Things are definitely going into a recession, folks. I'm seeing so many things fall off, escrows falling out, people getting nervous, unable to flip. A lot of flippers are guys that like to, flip without actually owning, not buying and selling, but like to, have people, do assumptions, which is a fine way to make money. And actually, it's really good discipline for you guys right now. If you hold yourself to, don't buy it, don't pull the trigger, or unless you can flip it. And a lot of those guys aren't able to flip. They're not able to flip because I'm seeing them fall out of escrow. And in fact, I'll know Friday. I'll tell you Friday if I get this deal or not. But I just made an offer. I'm the backup offer. And if these guys, if they don't release their money Friday, then I step in and take it away. But that's what's happening. Is people are getting nervous. People are getting scared. You add some layoffs, and it's just going to get worse. And I'm sure it is going to get worse. But anyways, that's all. It's just kind of an interesting thing right now. The real estate is becoming more and more valuable. I got some tenants moving from one building to another, and to allow their neighbors to expand, take more space. The rental rates are, it kind of feels like a double whammy on some of these people, and I feel bad. When the pandemic hit, I helped a lot of people. In other words, I took a fractional portion of rent to help people get by. I always consider that our success is shared, and you try to get together through the tough times, and you kind of eat it with your tenants. I mean, I'd rather give up a couple half months of rent, help somebody survive, than have them lose them all completely. It's not just me being so generous; it's just common sense to survive. Got to eat it with them, and but also, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, inflation, right? I have those normal triggers in my leases where I can charge more rent, each year, depending on what the CPI is. I proportionally can raise rents. Well, I didn't activate on any of those on my tenants since the COVID and the pandemic, and so as a result, they're paying a lease rate that was maybe negotiated, 3 to 5 years ago, and normally it would have escalated some over the last 3 years, but because I, been a nice guy and didn't push it through, it feels like the increase is even greater because they didn't get escalated along the way. This is it's really important to have CPI increases in your leases. I'm telling you right now, it's the best thing to do. Or if you're not going to do the CPI increase, then at least just do you just decide what you want to raise it up each year. But you got to have escalations every year, because just following the normal CPI, I mean, right now it's off the chart. I mean, I think it's 8.5 this month, or this year. It could be this month or this year. But if you don't know what the Consumer Price Index is, look it up. Normally it's been like 1.5 to 2.25 over the last, 10 years prior to, this year. And it is good because it brings the rents up a little bit every year, and then that way the tenants, in 5 years, CPI doesn't really keep up with the value of real estate. It doesn't. But every 5 years, let's just say you're paying $3,000 a month, and the CPI deal goes by, 3 or 4 years goes by, and now you're paying $3,400 a month. Well, I adjusted. Now it's time to renew, and I adjusted to market rates, and the market rates say $4,000, and you're like, oh my God, but now you're going from $3,400 to $4,000. It's a $600 hit. It's painful, depending on what kind of business you have, depending on where you're at. But if I didn't have those CPI adjustments up, it wouldn't be a $600 hike, it would be a $1,000 hike, because they didn't bring it up a little bit each year. And so it feels worse. I mean, the tenants aren't going, oh, great, I'm glad you didn't raise me up over the last several months, or the last several years. It's more like, I mean, some do actually, but it's more like, geez, you're raising my rent $1,000. Well, it should be, geez, you're raising my rent $600. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's just, this has been a perfect storm for damaging the country. Everything they've done, the stimulus has been a nightmare. Giving money to people that didn't need it was the biggest mistake they could ever make. And, of course, the powers that be, they negotiate these stupid deals. We're not going to help anybody unless you help everybody. It's stupid. That's, it's like I said, it's like giving everybody money for a cancer operation because you actually paid for a cancer operation, for somebody that needed it. But it's just like when they say, oh, we're not gonna let whatever. We're not gonna help 1,000 people because that doesn't go far enough. You got to help 2 million people, and and it's just a way of killing things. Or if they don't want something to go through, they'll pull that sort of thing. But anyways, I'm going to get off course here. But the property values have gone up so crazy much. The rents have gone up so crazy much that I can't even afford to warehouse my junk. I call it junk. But these things like the doors that I just showed you, fixtures of all kinds. I have conduit, electronics. Lumber I've hung on to. Lumber's so damn expensive, especially finished lumber. It's just kind of nuts. And the supply chain is terrible right now. The air conditioners, I'm getting quoted 18 to 26 weeks for replacement air conditioners on some of my buildings. And, the tenants can't wait that long. And there's no place for them to go either. And I don't want to wait that long. And I mean, this is me paying almost double for an air conditioner what I used to pay. But I'm stuck. I say I'm stuck. What I mean is, if the air conditioner was available, I would be paying double for it. But it's not even available. So the price is a gouger already. But it's nothing I can really do. Anyways, but. So anyways, I just want to check in and, just tell everybody, really be aware. We're going into a downward slide, and, it could get way worse really quick. I've seen this happen, I've been doing this 40-something years, and, I've seen people that are happily, employed, and then all of a sudden they are just strife, just pure strife. I remember this gal worked at a little hamburger place, cute little red-headed gal, and in fact, I think Romney is responsible for this one. We're going way back, right, in the 80s. There was a company called Gemco, and they were the equivalent. Gemco was the equivalent of like a Target in their day in California. They had multiple locations, and I think it was Romney. We all know who Romney is, from Utah. Well, he came in and he figured out that Gemco's assets, their buildings that they owned, were worth more than the company. The company didn't make that much money. One of the reasons the company did so well is it didn't have to pay rent, or it had to pay low rent. And he figured out that, man, I can get in there, do a hostile takeover, get the majority of these properties under control, and just say, hey, we're closing up, liquidate the real estate, fire all the people, and make a fortune. And he did. That's exactly what he did. And maybe misquoting, but I believe that's the story. And so he made a fantastic million, had a lot of money. Well, I remember this gal that her husband was a manager at one of the Gemcos, and he was out of work, and nobody needed her, nobody wanted her. And so she went to work, as a waitress doing the hamburgers, and it was very tough. You could just see the stress on her face. She'd been a stay-at-home mom, all this time, and all of a sudden she's in the working world, and her husband, who he just feels like crap, he's unemployable, or that's how he feels. It probably was at the moment, and so it was sad to see, because the roles reversed, and what a good wife. She did what she could, and she was out there just working her butt off, helping how she could. But once you see that, you don't forget it. And I come from believe me, I come from a very, like a low middle class family, low income middle class. And, actually my dad made decent money when he worked, my mother too. But they didn't work all the time. And then it goes out of divorce and that sort of thing, it just gets worse. You got to support 2 households. But with my dad, I can't tell you how many times we'd be pulled over on the side of the road, and I'm a little kid in the back seat with my sister, and we're looking at this. That's the hood of the car up, and my dad's got his head under the hood, trying to whatever, dealing with something, a starter, gas pump, or a dead battery, and not having the money to deal with it properly or get a better car. And we drove a Rambler American and an old Ford Comet, which they pretty much look like the same thing. But anyways, so like just dress for the crash. Like I tell you, dress for the crash, and just because you haven't seen tough times, believe me, it doesn't mean they can't be upon you. And I just want to emphasize that. Just because you've never seen it before, that's all it is. You just never seen it before. And here's a couple of my houses. I can tell everybody took care of them. I got to go inside and check on these. Got new cabinets over there. I don't have time to show you, but we'll be showing. I got a beautiful cabinet video from the measuring installation. It's getting beautiful white quartz countertops. Should be in there next week, and I'll walk you through it. And you'll see it. And here, real quick here, any questions? U.S. pushing towards war, or I don't know. Robert Richards, First Membership Superstore. Hey, Robert. Hey, Tina, good to see you in here. I'm anxious to catch up with you, Tina. Anyways, everybody, if you don't have my book, folks, where is it? I'm trying to plug the book, and it's not handy. Anyways, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate's book. FlipAnything USA is the website. Go in there, check out the mentorship, check out the testimonials. People have done fantastic. But listen, get your skills now. It's a great time to get your skills. It's always a good time to get to build your kidneys, right? But right now there's just save your money, be careful, and build your brain. You'll be glad you did. Oh, Liam, so happy to hear. Liam, he's just closed a big deal, folks. So there's Liam. So here, what a great place to be in. So Liam here, he's got $500,000 in his pocket, money he's made in real estate since taking the mentorship. I'm not taking credit for it, but I helped, okay? And so how great it is for Liam to be here with more than $500,000 in his pocket, all profit in real estate, since taking the mentorship and getting the book. And now he got an economy crashing. He's going to be able to his $500,000. He can probably turn it into $1 million with just a couple of purchases. So, anyways, hang on to that money and just save it, dress for the crash, and buy right. As long as it should feel like Christmas when you're buying it. Shouldn't feel scary. And you sure did help. Thanks, Liam. It's been a pleasure working with you, buddy. Anyways, FlipAnything USA, please share, subscribe, and maybe we'll do a jacuzzi chat in the morning. We'll see y'all. Take care.